Welcome to the Predators Official Podcast on ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming on Preds YouTube and wherever you find this, your favorite podcast. I'm Brooks Bratton of NashvillePredators.com, joined once again by my friends Kara Hammer of Preds TV and Max Hers from Preds Radio, and a jam-packed show to get to as we begin the month of December. The Preds with a couple of wins on the Thanksgiving trip. Reid Schaefer makes his NHL debut. We've got a great interview coming up with Preds defenseman Nick Blankenburg. Roman Josi sets an obscure franchise record. The Big E Awesome Person of the Week. So much to get to. Max, Kara, first of all, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I had a nice Thanksgiving back home in Denver with my family. Unlike Max, where were you? Were you on the road in Chicago? Did you take in part of the team, or were you soloing it?
Yeah, we were rolling deep. The whole team was together. The entire traveling party had a Thanksgiving dinner together in Chicago. Brooks chose to skip this trip because he hates us and he hates Thanksgiving. It's actually his least favorite holiday, despite the fact that he says otherwise. So we got to have a good time without him, and Hal Gill regaled us with stories of old. Lindsay Rowley won her bet with Barry Trotz on the Ravens and Bengals game, and everybody had a great time. And I must say, the Preds broadcasters were the life of the party.
Brooks was too busy doing his Brooks Bites Instagram for turkey dinner.
You know what? I was too busy eating. I hardly posted anything on social media. I was enjoying it full force there. No, I missed you guys on the road for a couple games, but it was good to get home. It was good to get everybody back together. But yeah, it was a good little trip, Max, right? A couple of wins, 6-3 in Detroit. Started off on Wednesday night. Nick Blankenburg, we'll of course talk to him plenty more coming up. But you had quite a goal call, young man, when Mr. Blankenburg put the puck in the net in front of upwards of 100 friends and family, a 5-goal third period, the first 5-goal period since 2019 for the Preds. But Max, that was a fun one in Detroit.
5 seconds left in the penalties to Weisblatt and Sherratt. Preds enter the offensive zone. Blankenburg slips through, down low. Hey, scores! Happy Blanksgiving! Nick Blankenburg goes backhand breakaway beauty in his home state.
Yeah, really fun, Brooks. And I didn't even realize it had been 6 years since that high scoring of a period. The way I had described it was the Predators' highest scoring game of the season in one period with 5 goals. So it was a much needed breaking of the dam. And as you heard, Hal Gill was just as fired up as I was for that goal. But the moves from Nick Blankenburg, unreal. There are moments where he's putting the team on his back this season, and to do it in front of what seemed like his entire high school graduating class was so cool. And he had his entire crew gathered after the game. If you've ever wanted to see how many Nick Blankenburg sweaters you can see in one place, they were all there. Michigan Wolverines, Blue Jackets, Preds, high school, everywhere in between. So it was so cool for Blankenburg. And even though this is his 4th full NHL season, this was only the 2nd time he'd ever faced the Red Wings. Pretty crazy.
It was crazy. And both times he was able to pick up a point. The first time he played there with the Blue Jackets, he picked up a point. Then he goes there in a Nashville sweater, picks up a point. But you guys, we have to talk about how good Nick Blankenburg has been on the power play, right? He's been quarterbacking that unit. Max, you talked to him during the intermission of that game. I mean, how sweet is he? He's got Stammer on one side. He could go to Phil or O'Reilly on the other. I mean, the options are there, and he's finding a way to find success.
Yeah, I mean, the Preds have had some competition between the units, and the big money unit has not been the one scoring the goals most of the time. The common denominator, whichever unit Nick Blankenburg is on top of, is the one scoring the goals.
Well, Kara, I don't want to spoil too much of our interview, but he did mention that goal in Detroit may be his favorite memory in a Predators uniform. It was quite a night for Nick Blankenburg, and a couple of cool stats. So Blank scored that beautiful goal, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand. And then 15 top shelf. And then 15 seconds later, Roman Josi scores. So that established the fastest 2 goals by defensemen in Predators history, besting the previous record of 23 seconds by Shea Weber and Kimmo Timonen all the way back on Craig Baugh's birthday, December 2nd, 2006, was the last time that happened. And then later in that period, Max, as you said, a season's worth, a game's worth of goals in a period, Ryan O'Reilly and Eric Hollis scored 27 seconds apart later in the period. So Wednesday marked the third game in franchise history where the club has scored a pair of goals 30 seconds apart or fewer on multiple occasions. That's a little bit of an obscure one there, but some cool numbers there coming out of Detroit.
I mean, 2 goals on back-to-back shifts, twice in the same period. A sight for sore eyes for this Preds offense. I believe that is under a minute in total to get you a Frosty, is the stat I will term it as.
We also have to highlight, too, in that Detroit game, we saw Bruno switch up the lines. The first two forward lines were shuffled a little bit. And I think that was creating some success for this team.
For sure. And, anything like at this time of the year when you are where you are in the standings, you're getting into the month of December, it's, there has been consistency up front and on the back end, which has been a good thing. But when you're not getting the results that you want, obviously you often see some tweaks up front and on the blue line. We actually saw that as we record this on Monday, December 1st. We actually saw some new looks as well up front and on the blue line. So we'll see if that carries through on Tuesday into the Calgary game and then the rest of the week. But yeah, the Preds, they have found success in different areas. And I think, Kara, you touched on changing things up a little bit, but a couple of guys that have been together at different times, Ryan O'Reilly and Luke Evangelista, have been really hot as of late, as has Blankenburg. But you want to carry that into Chicago on Friday, a 4-3 victory. Ryan O'Reilly in those 2 games had 5 points. And then if you want to throw in Saturday as well, Evangelista has 7 points in his last 4 games. Those are some impressive numbers for guys that you're not maybe going all the time, but they're going as of late, and it's been really good to see.
How about Vange's goal on Saturday night? I mean, he took a shot, right? He deflects a shot, then he just finds himself in the right position in front of the net to go top shelf. Shout out to Vange, right? He seems to just be finding a way to put together some points and getting to his game.
Yeah, he's got the goal scorer's touchback, and it's something that we've seen in bits and pieces from him in the NHL. And this year he leads the Preds in assists. He's been making some plays for guys. But I think when you play with Ryan O'Reilly, you're going to have that finishing touch. And it's been Stamkos with those guys over the last week. And he had multiple points in both of those wins on the road trip, his first 2 multi-point games of the season. And those guys look good together. I mean, the top line needs to be the top line. And even without Philip Forsberg on it, that line's got to be leading the way goal scoring for the team. So I think we saw a lot of good in those 2 road games, a home loss on the back end of it on Saturday. But Brooks, you weren't in Chicago. Again, you ditched us for Thanksgiving. So we had to replace you with a bigger, stronger, and better at hockey ginger with Reid Schaefer in his NHL debut.
I was going to say, Big Red, as they call him, made his way down
Big
from
Red.
Milwaukee to Chicago. Max, tell us all about Reid Schaefer. It was great to see him on the broadcast. Lindsay had a really good interview with his mom, but the family made it from Edmonton, a couple of people from Ontario as well. But tell us about being in the building for Reid Schaefer in his NHL debut there.
Yeah, the 370th player in 27 years of Preds hockey, Reid Schaefer, lands. And he got a call while he was watching the end of the Packers-Lions game on Thanksgiving, sitting on his couch in Milwaukee, from Scott Nickel, who we had on the podcast earlier this year. He's the former Pred, assistant GM for the Preds, and the GM of the Admirals. And he said, "You're going up. We got a car coming for you. We're going to drive you from Milwaukee down to Chicago, and you'll be there in time for Thanksgiving dinner with the team." And he was there. That was his welcome to the NHL. Morning skate Friday. His parents and his girlfriend came from Edmonton. They flew from Edmonton to Minnesota to Chicago and landed a couple hours before the game, and they made it. His billet parents, Tracy and Ed McCullum, came from Seattle. He played for the Seattle Thunderbirds in the Western League, one of the few Canadian junior teams in the U.S. They made it from Seattle to Chicago for the game, and his uncle and first cousin also came from Ontario for the game. So he said he had 13 people, which on short notice and on a holiday, and snowstorms happening up in Canada, making this all a little bit riskier. That's a great crew for Reid Schaefer, and I thought he played well in both games. He ended up being on the ice for a goal against both games, so he's -2, but his ice time was solid. I think he was a presence. He didn't really make any mistakes, and I thought he established himself, and he's earned a chance to stick around. And talking to both of our analysts on Preds Radio, and Jay Moore was adamant about this. And I will put the disclaimer that Jay is biased because he loves his good Western League boys. But he was clear. Schaefer is a guy who you need to give time to get comfortable in the NHL, and he can really get comfortable going to the net. He can become a net front guy. He can have that skill come out. I think eventually, Brooks, we could see him on either or both of the Preds special teams. He was on the penalty kill and the power play for the Admirals, and I think he's made the strides he needs to, and he's earned the right to stick, at least for the next little bit.
Yeah, and even talking to him during the rookie camp, and I put my story out a couple of days ago again that I originally wrote in September, but just the chance to get to know him, I feel like he was a guy that, everybody has heard of the Tanner Mollendykes and the Brady Martins and the Joachim Kemmels of the world. I feel like Reid Schaefer was maybe the guy, like the one guy kind of entering this season that you've heard people mention his name, but not a lot of folks had seen him play just from injuries in Milwaukee and not getting a full season under his belt necessarily. He's healthy now, and he had a really good showing at the rookie tournament in Tampa. I think you could argue he might have been Nashville's best player during that tournament. He was scoring goals. He was going to the net. He was mixing things up. Like that's Reid Schaefer, right? Like when I talked to him in September, he said, I like being a pain in the butt to play against. I like it when the other team is frustrated to play against me. And yes, he's got that offensive capability as well. But if he can put all of that together at the NHL level, we've seen it in spurts, and especially at the American League level, he had a really good showing offensively before he got recalled. And so he's got the intangibles. You mentioned he's 6'5", so he's got the size, he's got the ability to be a really good power forward in the NHL. And that was why Nashville wanted him way back when. He was part of the Matthias Ekholm trade, came over from Edmonton. He was a first-round pick of the Oilers. And yeah, it's good to have somebody like that up here too. I mean, you heard Barry Trotz say it on the radio last week that you're going to start having the Reid Schaefers and the Kemmels and the Mollendykes and the O'Haras. You're going to have guys start coming up and making their debuts. Schaefer is the first one to really do that this season, other than Brady Martin on opening night. But Reid Schaefer is the guy that you're going to start seeing, and he may go back down. Like if he goes back down in the next little bit, don't be surprised. That is often what happens with guys when they come up. It's rare that someone comes up, makes their debut, and just sticks around for the whole season. He could end up going back down, but it is such a good thing to have somebody like that come up, get some NHL games, know what it's like, understand what it takes at this level, because the NHL is so much faster. We hear guys say that all the time. The speed of the game at the NHL level is what really makes a difference in the AHL level. But get Schaefer a couple games, let him get his feet wet, see what it's all about, and take it from there. But yeah, Kara, a really good start for Reid Schaefer to not only be able to get in Chicago, have everybody there in attendance, but just to see what life in the NHL is like for a few days. It's a really good start. And it's always good to have some 6'5" ginger energy in the building as well.
Yeah, the big energy. I mean, that caught the attention from associate head coach Luke Richardson. I talked to him about Reid Schaefer, and he goes, he kind of got trucked by Luke Schenn. That's a big bodied player in the NHL when they're taking on Winnipeg. But Richardson said he got right back up. He was in the next play. He was getting in front of the net. He's doing all the things that we want him to do for a player of his size. So shout out to Reid Schaefer, and hopefully he sticks around for a little bit.
Brooks, you did have a great tweet. I don't know if this counts as a stat, but he is the 5th Pred to wear uniform number 49. That number is not his choice. That's an assigned rookie number, and eventually he will graduate to something else. But you pulled out the Rory Fitzpatrick on us, so I just want to give you props to that. 2 games in 2000 as the first Pred ever to wear number 49. Preds legend, and also another Preds legend, famous for his cup final run with the Flyers, Michael Layton, who I believe was number 49 on every team he was ever on. Was not with the Preds very long, but he's one of our very few goalies that we've had the pleasure of having in 27 seasons. And then 2 guys who would stick around on the blue line debuted at number 49, Kevin Klein and Ryan Ellis. So there are your 5 49ers.
That's something you mentioned, Kevin Klein and Ryan Ellis. You often forget that guys, when they first come up, a lot of times they have some just weird random number, and then they end up getting something that they want. I think Roman Josi's a guy, like he's stuck with 59. Adam Wilsby still has 83. There's some different guys, they'll just keep it. But a lot of times you'll see, like, you might come across a photo of Ryan Ellis wearing number 49. You're like, what in the world? Why is he wearing that? that's the way you start. You got to earn your number, though. So Reid Schaefer, maybe he'll get there. Maybe he loves 49. Who knows? We're not sure, but it's a good start. And I love seeing those number statistics. I love just going back and seeing the names, because you're bound to get some good names when you go pull up the archives there.
Well, you do a great job with that, Brooks, and I will pander to you even further. This was a cool feature, especially for our Milwaukee fans. Friday night at the game in Chicago, we had a ref who Admirals fans will know. A new NHL linesman, Dylan Blugis, is a first-year NHL linesman. The game Friday, Preds Blackhawks, was his 8th NHL game in stripes. All of them have been in the last month, and he played for the Milwaukee Admirals 4 years ago. He was a defenseman, played 50 games for the Ads. He played for a lot of different AHL teams, was drafted by the Lightning originally, and he is now an NHL ref. He's 31 years old. Sorry, he's an official. He's a linesman, not a referee, and pretty cool. The only person who he played with in Milwaukee who played in that game was Mike McCarron, who was not in Milwaukee too long that year, but he was also teammates with Cole Smith and Adam Wilsby that season in Milwaukee. So pretty cool to have Dylan Blugis on the lines, even though he did block a clear that led to the Blackhawks' first goal.
Even though he wasn't perfect, that darn Dylan Blugis. No, I love stuff like that, right? Like, that happens a lot, especially the speed of the game now, like the way that the officiating has trended. The NHL wants guys that have played at a very high level. So oftentimes when new referees, and especially new linesmen, new linespersons get hired, they have that background of playing professionally either in Europe or ECHL or AHL. They want guys that know the game but can also keep up with the game. And especially as a lines person, you're going in and breaking up a fight like we saw on Saturday, 6'6" Mike McCarron, 6'7" Logan Stanley. I don't want to be a 5'9" lines person trying to break that up. It helps if you have a little bit of size and a little bit of muscle on you, and somebody like Dylan Blue just does just that. So congrats to him on his new career path. And yeah, it's cool. A former ad working a game between the Preds and the Hawks.
We'll take those calls next time, Dylan, but we're happy for you.
All right, well, I got a stat that's going to tie this all in. I know you guys are going to love it. 2019, Ryan Ellis, the last player not named Roman Josi, to lead defenseman in points during a single month. The next guy to do it, Nick Blankenburg. We're going to have him next on the Preds Official Podcast.
Welcome back to the Predators Official Podcast. You're on ESPN 102.5 The Game and streaming on YouTube. I'm Brooks Bratton alongside Kara Hammer, and we are very pleased to be joined by Predators defenseman Nick Blankenburg. Nick, thanks for doing this. First of all, welcome to the POP.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, it's our pleasure. And we wanted to have you on, one, because you're a great guy, but two, you're putting the puck in the net. You can't stop. And so we figured what better time to talk a little bit about that, among other things. So your goal-scoring prowess, first of all, 3 goals in their last 4 games, the last little bit here. What has been working for you on the ice, and how are you feeling about your game here just about 2 months into the regular season?
Yeah, I think obviously getting a little bit of a break. I think the first however many games I wasn't in just kind of let my body rest, and I think it was just big for me to know I was getting an opportunity and just make sure I was prepared for when I did, and super thankful for the opportunity. And I think sometimes when the puck's just going in the net, you just got to appreciate it and just keep on going and take it day by day at a time, and try and not get too ahead of myself, but just try and be where I am in the moment and have some fun too. It's been honestly a blast, so just keep going.
We're coming off of this game in Detroit. We just talked about it. I think you have like 50 to 100 friends and family members there. Do we have a final number of how many people were in attendance for Nick Blankenburg?
I didn't get a number. I mean, after the game, like I just saw everyone, and I was just so thankful that everyone came, and just to see everyone's faces, and just the way that the night ended up turning out with scoring and obviously getting a huge win, and just to be able to do it and against the Red Wings, like growing up to games and watching them play, it was just such a special night for me.
Yeah, that seemed to be your night. I mean, is there a little bit of a special night, but like a sweetness when you're scoring in Detroit?
Yeah, like it was so cool. And after the game, I just had so much joy, and just like, obviously it was right around Thanksgiving, and I was just so thankful, and my heart was just so full that night, just from being around just so many people that care about me and that I love and that have given so much to me to even have the opportunity to be here. So it was an awesome night.
Nick, being from Michigan too, and we'll get to this a little bit more with some fan questions in just a minute, but you go to the University of Michigan, as you said, obviously you're from Michigan. Tell us about what it means to you just to be from that state and to find success there. What does playing hockey in the state of Michigan, your home state, mean to you?
Yeah, I think there's just something special about, I think you ask any guy like what it's like playing where you're from, or, I mean, we even saw a glimpse of it with Phil in Sweden, like how cool that was for him. And it just means a lot to me that there's not many NHL games that you're at where you have super close family or super close friends at the game. And I think it just kind of gives you a little bit of extra motivation. And I never got to play at Joe Louis Arena, but that would have been pretty cool, because it's literally like growing up and selling tickets during the games. And when I played for Little Caesars, like that was our home rink. But obviously Little Caesars is unbelievable too. And I think just to do it in your home state with people that you went to high school with, and just like looking back at high school, like, man, like I never thought that I'd be here, like that I'd have an opportunity to play in the NHL. And then it kind of hits even closer to home when you're playing in your home state. And it was just really cool, and it meant so much to me.
We'll get to some fan questions in just a second because we got a ton of them, but I did want to ask as well. Obviously, you're here in Nashville. You've been here for a couple of years. You started your NHL career in Columbus, and it's kind of been this theme of, you walk on in Michigan and you end up being the captain. You make the team in Columbus, but it takes a minute until you're playing every day. Same thing in Nashville. Even this season, you start 7th or 8th on the depth chart on the back end. And now you come in, you're playing penalty kill, you're playing on the power play. How do you kind of view the trajectory that you've taken to this point? And again, seemingly on these stops as well, it might take a minute to get there, but once you get going, you're in there and you're feeling it, it seems.
Yeah, I think I think my faith plays a huge role in that, and my relationship with Christ. And I mean, like, I feel like in the moment when you're a walk-on at Michigan, or you're just trying to get a Division I scholarship, or you are healthy scratched, like I feel like it's so easy to let your identity get tied up in hockey and in success, and kind of wanting that, I guess, in my word, like in that, those earthly desires and those earthly passions. And those aren't bad things, but I just think I try and keep my identity rooted in my relationship with Christ. And I think that just gives me so much peace and joy just to go out there and play. And I mean, God's put me in every single opportunity in every different season of life for a specific reason. And I mean, I think every single season that I go into, it's been the same thing so far, where I feel like I have to prove myself. And I mean, He's done it in the past, and He's been continuing to do it with me in my hockey career. And I'm just super blessed and super thankful for that. So I think for now, for me, just continue to take it day by day, and just to enjoy the moment. And obviously when the puck's going in the net and you're playing well, just to do whatever you can to keep it, and just to keep going.
Amazing. Well, we got a number of really good fan questions. Max put it out on social media, and people had a lot to ask. So we'll get to some of the best ones here. First, we'll start with Delaney. Said, what was your favorite thing about playing college hockey? And what is something from that experience that you feel prepared you for your professional career?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think one of my favorite things about being in Michigan the year before, and I played in Okotoks in Calgary, Alberta, and that was 27 hours away from home. So just to be an hour and a half away from home, just to have the experience. Like, my grandpa was a diehard Michigan fan, and he got to experience seeing me play for the first year of my career at U of M, and obviously having my family come to games and good buddies and friends. And that was just something I was super thankful for. And I'd say one other thing I learned about was I think there's a lot of things that can't really prepare you for the NHL, like just managing all the time that you have in 82 game season, and a lot of time spent by yourself. So yeah, I don't really know how I'd answer that. Obviously Michigan, just the development aspect of it, of being on the ice all the time, working out 5 days a week, 4 days a week. And like each game in college was like a Stanley Cup final game, because you'd only play 2 of them. So I feel like I kind of brought that with me a little bit here pro. Like each game I feel like is so important to me. And again, each game is a blessing. So I'm just super thankful for that.
Brooks, I think we have to ask the next fan question from Liz, and it relates to that. Other than winning a Stanley Cup, what goal do you have for yourself as an NHL player?
I mean, I don't know if I have necessarily any goals on like trophies to win. Obviously, Stanley Cup's one of them. I think for me, it's just more important about the person I'm becoming along the way. And I think that when I look back in my career, I want people to look back at me and just think that I was someone who was a great teammate, somebody who gave it their all each and every single day. And obviously to be a role model and to be a good steward of the blessings that I've had in my life. And I feel like that's the most important thing about the person I'm becoming along the way.
In your hockey journey, who's been your biggest motivator? Like who's helped guide you to this point the most?
I mean, I think the easy question would probably be my dad or my brother. I always looked up to my dad and just his work ethic and kind of his own career and just how much he's sacrificed for our family. And then obviously my brother, again, grinded out 3 years of junior hockey to play Division I for Nebraska Omaha. He was a goalie, and I just saw his work ethic. But I'd say the other one would be my high school coach at Romeo. Nick Batter is his name. He was right around my age, 20. I mean, I'm 27 now. I think he was 25, 26, and he started coaching us my sophomore year of high school. And I try and put myself in his shoes. And he was just like, he was emailing teams, junior teams, my senior year of high school, trying to say, hey, like, you got to give this guy a shot. Like, high school hockey, it's probably not the greatest in Michigan in terms of like depth wise. And obviously there's not many guys who are move on to college hockey or even the NHL. But he, after my senior year, he let me live with him and his wife because it was closer to the team I was playing at for Victory Honda. And we'd wake up at 7 a.m. each day, and he'd help me cook and teach me, yeah, you got to put on weight. You got to go to the gym. We'd go to the gym together. And I mean, at this point we were in 1,200 square foot bungalow house, and him and his now wife Liz had just got engaged. So like he sacrificed so much for me I can't even thank him and Liz enough for how much they've done for me. And I still see them all the time and talk to them. So I'd say he's definitely one of them.
Is this where you see yourself going? Like, do you want to be on the journey where then at some point you're helping the next person?
In terms of hockey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know where life's going to take me when hockey's over. I feel like that's obviously a question that guys get a lot of the time, and I feel like not many guys have the exact answer to that. And I've always said, like, I'll trust that wherever God takes me after this journey, and we'll see what he does. If that's something with hockey, great. If not, I'll be all right with that too. So we'll kind of see what happens. Hopefully in a few more years, in a while, but again, we'll see.
Awesome.
Amazing. Nick, we got just a couple more here I want to get to. Susan said, and we've seen this recently on the PK, but she said, how hard is it to switch from playing defense to playing forward on the penalty kill? How do you get into that mindset? Because we've seen that a little bit recently where there have been 3 defensemen, you being one of them, out on the penalty kill.
Yeah, I mean, Mac, the PK coach, has done such a good job in just being simple and letting us know kind of what our roles and jobs are. And obviously last year playing a lot of penalty kill minutes, I think that helped me out a lot. And just by watching guys like Macker and Smitty, who are such good penalty killers, I don't really think there's too much that changes. Say in the breakout, like I'm kind of the third D back, kind of doing the same job that I had as if I was a D man. And then, I mean, I think there's just a couple little things as a forward, like you have to take backdoor, like that wasn't the D-men's job when I was last year. So just little stuff like that Mac's done a great job in just communicating with me and helping me out with. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I feel like it's a good challenge, and it's cool just to do something different, I guess.
Yeah. Excellent. Shelby wanted to know, what is your favorite Nashville memory so far, either on the ice or off the ice?
I mean, there's a lot of them. I'd say that Detroit goal is definitely, I'd say it's probably tied with the overtime goal against LA. My first goal as a Pred, those were both pretty cool experiences for me.
Awesome. And let's say LL wanted to know, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice you've ever received. That's a tough one. I mean, my mind went straight to my dad. I mean, this sounds so cliche, but like I feel like the older you get, the more you realize like how much wisdom your parents have. I feel like everyone goes through a stage where you're like, oh yeah, sure, dad, like you're right, like whatever you say. And I feel like I was like that a bit in teenage years, as every teenager is. But I feel like one of them, he always just tells me, and we joke about it now, but he's always just like, do your best and forget the rest. And I feel like that's just really stuck with me. I feel like especially as I've gotten older over the last 2 years, like we'll talk the day of a game or the night before your game, and he's like, you know what I'm going to say, right? And I'm like, yeah, do your best and forget the rest. So I'd say that's one of them.
We also know you've been known to quote Ted Lasso. We're all huge fans of the show. So we have to know now, are we waiting for the next season, hopeful, and maybe what are you watching at this moment?
Yeah, definitely excited for the next season of Ted Lasso. I feel like my Instagram's kind of been lately has been kind of full of Ted Lasso quotes. So I've rewatched it twice. I might rewatch it a third time.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in like a big stage of rewatching shows right now. I just rewatched Peaky Blinders and finished that again. And now I'm currently rewatching Breaking Bad. I haven't watched that in probably 10 years, so I'm going through that again right now.
Nice. Well, be a goldfish, do your best, and forget the rest. Blanks, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And thanks for doing it in this medium on the podcast. We certainly enjoy it. And best of luck as we begin the month of December here.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Nick Blankenburg. We'll be back in just a moment on the Predators Official Podcast.
Welcome back to the Predators Official Podcast. Kara Hammer along with Brooks Bratton and Max Hers. And Brooks, how much do we enjoy Nick Blankenburg? He is such a positive attitude. He was a healthy scratch, I believe, for the first 8 games of the season. Then led the team and led defensemen in points, 11 points during the month of November. He's Mr. November. I mean, he just brings the positive attitude every time you talk to him.
Well, I was really hoping that when we asked him the best piece of advice he'd ever gotten, because he mentioned that in the preseason, that piece of advice from his dad, do your best and forget the rest. Yeah. I love that. I think those are words to live by for all of us. So I love that he mentioned that. I don't know. I feel like we should do a whole episode with Nick Blankenburg. It'd be easy to do. But yeah, he's such a good guy to talk to. And like, you love to root for guys like that, right? Yeah. Like it's fun to see anybody have success, but somebody like that who walked onto the team in college, had to build a name for himself in Columbus, had to do the same thing here. You mentioned scratched for the first handful of games this season, and the first game he played, they're like, oh, here, right to the first power play. Like, yeah. They had a use for him right away. They knew what he's capable of. And he's a guy now that, you've got an extra defenseman or two on the roster, but I think he would be the last person you would think about taking out of the lineup at this point. He's just become so valuable, so effective. And to top it all off, he's a great guy. And so a pleasure to have him on the show.
One of my favorite things we always learn from these players is their journey to the NHL. I mean, talking about having his high school coach essentially be the same age as him, all trying to navigate this world together. I mean, Max and I had Adam Wilsby on Smashville Live. We learned he was living by himself at 16 years old. So it's just, what are these guys going through? How do they get their foot in the door to even, I guess, or essentially like skate in the door? How are they getting on an NHL rink to play hockey? It's just, it's always wild to me sometimes when you look at where these guys come from.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I'm so happy for Nick Blankenburg. All the guy does is just keep making the team every dang day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Somebody who didn't need to make the team. His roster spot was already pretty solidified. But Captain Roman Josi, who has been back for the last little bit from injury, but he set a franchise record on Saturday night, a little bit of an obscure one. But as we talked to him about it following Monday's practice, I said, hey, it's a franchise record. He said, I was hoping I would get that one. He played the longest shift since ice time has been tracked, 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, we should put maybe a little bit of an asterisk on this. It was in the dying moments of regulation he was out there. There were a number of stoppages in play. The Preds were 6-on-5 for a lot of the time, which Josi mentioned, hey, when you are 6-on-5 as a defenseman, you're not moving around a ton when you're just passing the puck around in your offensive zone. But stoppages and icings, regardless, he was out there for 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Ideally, a shift is 45 seconds to a minute long. Anything over 2 or 3 minutes, and you'll see it sometimes when a team gets hemmed in their own end, the defenseman can't get off, things of that nature. But 5 minutes and 15 seconds, guys, that is pretty darn impressive no matter how many times the whistle blows to stay out there. But if anybody can handle it, it's Josi.
Well, we put a caveat on some of these stats, like, oh, it's only since ice time has been tracked. Ice time has been tracked for 26 of the 27 years that the Preds have existed. The Preds are 1 year older than shift time tracking. Yeah. So unless Jay Moore was out there refusing to go to the bench when Trotzy was yelling at him year one, this is the longest shift in Nashville Predators history.
It could have happened. We don't know.
Well, Brooks, you did ask Bruno about it, of whose decision was this. Was it Roman staying on the ice? Was it you not pulling him off? And, Bruno was kind of counting the amount of whistles. He's like, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like knew that what was happening in the game in the final 5 minutes for Josi to stay out there. And I think he said there was a few icings, but do you think Bruno was at all surprised, like learning how long he had been on the ice when he was kind of hit with that question right away?
Well, yeah, like I don't think anybody realized. I mean, as you mentioned, Kara, we did talk to him about it, and Bruno kind of brushed it off. He was like, I didn't put too much stock into what was going on, the fact that he was still out there. And Roman said the same thing. We again asked him after practice on Monday, and he was like, yeah, like there were stoppages and you're looking toward the bench, and the bench kept saying stay out there, and you just kind of got to go with the flow. I mean, I don't think that, and not that this is kind of a not weird, but like an interesting dynamic too. Like, I don't think that Roman would ever be someone that would look at the bench and say like, no, I'm not coming off. Yeah. But also, like, he would probably have the ability to do that if he ever wanted to do that. I think Roman is someone who, if he says, hey, I want to do this, you're probably going to let him do it. But he wasn't out there certainly thinking, oh my gosh, I've been out here for 5 minutes. This is great. I'm setting a franchise record. But nonetheless, like, it's a cool little stat and just the way that it played out. And Nick Blankenburg was out there for a while too. He wasn't out there for 5 minutes max, but I think it was at least in the 3 minute range he was out there. So a couple of cool little intangibles there.
Well, do we have who's second, Brooks? Because there was a shift in a similar situation at the world famous Mullet Arena at Arizona State University 2 or 3 years ago, where Josi did basically the same thing. It was, I think, between 4 and 5.
That, and then I think he might have done something similar on New Year's Eve in Minnesota last year as well. So I think if anybody is up there, it's probably Roman, who may have like the top 5 or 10 stats when it comes to longest shift in franchise history. But Max, I like what you said. I'd like to know if Jay Moore is up there. I think it's possible.
I don't know. That might have beaten Jay's ice time for an entire week at one point. So. Sorry, Jay. Love you.
Well, one thing we do know that I learned from Luke Richardson was that while Roman was out with the upper body injury, he was still skating. So I think just that opportunity to get on the ice, stay in shape, keep up with the gameplay, like, although he was missing games, he wasn't missing ice time. He was able to get right back into it.
Yeah, and obviously Roman is a world-class athlete. I mean, he is superhuman compared to most of us. So while it is notable and it is surprising that he had a number that was that high, perhaps we shouldn't be, because if anyone is capable of it, he certainly is. And I want to transition to this quickly, because from one captain to another, we had the Smashville Women's Collegiate Hockey Showcase over the Thanksgiving weekend at Ford Ice Center Bellevue. And Sydney Russell, the captain of Stonehill College, holds a distinct honor. She's the first woman born and raised in Nashville to commit to play NCAA Division I hockey. She does so for Stonehill College. And what a cool moment for her to come back home, play in a rink that she grew up practicing in, skate in front of family and friends. I had the opportunity to talk to her and her parents, Mark and Nicole. Enjoyed putting together that story on NashvillePredators.com. But shout out to Sydney Russell, making waves and showing that just because you're from Nashville, Tennessee, doesn't mean that Division I women's hockey can't be part of your story. So wanted to get that mention in there, and just a cool story of someone who grew up going to Preds games and She's in her senior season, the captain of Stonehill College, and it all kind of came full circle this weekend.
Cool.
It's so cool. She's a DCA alum. She's the captain of the team, of a D1 team, and people in Nashville may not know Stonehill College. You're certainly excused if you don't. I didn't know about it till too recently. They recently made the jump to D1 in all of their sports. They've been D1 in hockey, though. It's near Boston. It's in Massachusetts, and it's a great women's program. And Sydney has played 130 collegiate games over the last 4 years, not 40 years, 4 years. And she just picked up her 50th collegiate point with an assist at Ford Ice Center against number 1 ranked defending national champion Wisconsin at the Terry Crisp Ice Rink on Sunday. So
Nice.
really, really cool. And we know there will be many more, but Sydney is the first. And so cool to have the 5th annual Smashville Women's Collegiate Hockey Showcase. We've had pro players who played in this tournament now, who have gone to the PWHL from the many D1 teams that have been here. And it's such a cool way to get high-level college hockey in Nashville, and the teams love coming.
Great stuff.
Awesome. We'll touch on this too. I wanted to mention this quickly, Max. You actually shared it on Sunday after Spencer Stastny shared it on his Instagram, which a great Instagram post, by the way, just talking about, hey, what a difference a year makes, all the people that have helped him get back to this level. We know his story. It was documented over the summer really well on the 32 Thoughts podcast. But Spencer had a lot of friends and family at the game in Chicago on Friday, and he posted a video. You'll remember the scrum. It was quite a kerfuffle, as I like to say. Ozzy Weisblatt started it, as he usually does. But then Mike McCarron, Nick Hague, all these guys are on the ice. Pretty feisty moment there between the Preds and the Blackhawks. And Spencer, unfortunately, took a little bit of friendly fire in that scrum. He's no worse for the wear. He's okay. We talked to him after practice on Monday. But that was a pretty good clip there.
Nick Hague was just throwing gloved punches, and there were 2 Blackhawks closer to him than Spencer Stastny was, but he missed them both, and he got Spencer Stastny right in the grill. And one of his friends had the phone out, like, oh my God, line brawl, Spencer's in the brawl, we're filming this. And he takes a punch from his teammate, and his friend filming it just goes, "Aw."
I think Nick Hague also missed Dylan Blue, just the linesman we were talking about. He missed everyone, but he found Stas right there in the
He does
scrum.
not discriminate. But yeah, Michael McCarron was ready to fight the entire city of Chicago. So that was a lot of fun. Preds and Blackhawks rivalry is back like it never left. And by the way, Connor Bedard is now 1-8 in his first 9 games against the Preds. Let's try and keep that going. I've said we want his number 1 pick at Bridgestone Arena to be the only time he ever smiles in this arena. So let's keep it going that way. And some big news.
A lot of good stats on this show. That's another one
I know.
had there. Well done.
And here's something to put on your calendar. Smashville Live is back next Wednesday, December 10th at Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue with Ozzy Weisblatt and Luke Evangelista, your 2 guests. Wednesday night, December 10th at 6 o'clock, Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue. It's right down the street from the Ensworth High School campus, and it will be hosted by Kara Hammer. And also,
There you go.
but mostly Kara.
I'll bring all the questions.
Good. So come see Ozzy and Luke Evangelista next Wednesday night, December 10th. That'll be a lot of fun. We're going to take a break, come back, and finish up the show. We're going to give out the Big E, the belt of excellence, love, light, positivity for Hockey Fights Cancer Night. Coming up next here on the Preds Official Podcast. Welcome back to the Predators Official Podcast here on ESPN 102.5 The Game and Preds YouTube. My name is Max Hers from Preds Radio, along with Kara Hammer from Preds TV and Brooks Bratton from NashvillePredators.com. It is time to give out the Big E, our weekly award for the person in Smashville who is awesome and rocks, in memory of the late Aaron Donick, who died in July. And since we last had a podcast, we had a very emotional Hockey Fights Cancer Night in Smashville, and UC Saros wore his one-of-a-kind goalie mask that was auctioned off and raised over $5,000 for the 365 Pediatric Cancer Fund, and it had the faces of 4 special people who have fought cancer here in Smashville. First up, the namesake of the Big E, our friend Aaron Donick, who died of lung cancer this summer. Also, daughter of Predators head equipment manager Pete Rogers, Lexi Rogers, who is currently in remission from lymphoma. So we are so happy for Lexi. She's currently a senior at Elon University and was at the game for Hockey Fights Cancer Night. Also currently fighting, Sheila Crisp, wife of Terry Crisp, who we love so much, who we are rooting for as she battles breast cancer. Keep going out there and kicking some ass, Sheila, as she said in her motivational speech to the Preds. And also the man who is celebrating his 61st birthday this week, legendary Predators locker room attendant and prostate cancer survivor, Craig Partner Baugh, all on the mask from Juice, hand-drawn by Dave Gunnarsson, who designs many of the NHL's mask. And Kara, we're giving the Big E this week to the whole lot of them because we love them all.
They're all so awesome. And Max, we have to highlight too that Partner was on the road trip. And we know that Michael Bunting came out and said, he's good luck. He's the good luck charm. That's why Partner's here. And it was just a special night. And these are very special people to all of us.
Yeah, the Michael Bunting Craig Baugh friendship deserves to be studied, shared, and highlighted for all to see because they have a very special bond. They're kind of frenemies. It started with the Dodgers Blue Jays World Series because Partner was rooting for the Dodgers. And it's kind of carried over every but it's just it was so great to have Partner on the road. He was there for Thanksgiving because he's part of the family, and he'll go on a road trip or two every year, but usually just works home games for the Preds. And just to have him on the bus, he wasn't put to work. He was very leisurely. He was watching the games from the team room, all of that. And just to see how happy everybody is to have him on the road every day and have him greeting everybody on the bus. What's up, Brady Shea? What's up, Roman Josi? The whole lot. So, yeah, it was special. And he said the blessing on Thanksgiving for the team. He had been practicing hard, and he did a great job with it. Nice. So, and of course, a 2-0 road trip for Partner. What else were you expecting, though?
And happy 61st to Craig Partner Baugh. December 2nd, 61st birthday. We were reminiscing on the 60th. The Preds had a big party. And I love when, and I remember being here for his 50th as well, but when there's a milestone birthday for Craig and you really just get a sense of how many people around the league know him and love him, because teams will get guys to send in videos, and like star players, like the biggest players in the NHL will show up on these video reels wishing Partner a happy birthday. And that's always really cool to see. I remember being at the Hall of Fame last November for Shea Weber and David Poyle's induction, and Pekka Rinne was there, and I got Pex to film him a video on the red carpet, and he said, "Hey bro, it's your favorite goalie." So, just stuff like that. You love to see Partner every day. And, no matter if you're on a 5-game heater or if you've lost a few, like, it doesn't matter. Craig's happy to see you, and he puts everyone in a good mood. So special shout out to him on his 61st birthday, December 2nd, and also Joel Ward's birthday.
And also Craig's twin brother, Paul. Coincidentally, they have the same birthday.
Coincidentally, the twins, yes.
Yeah, crazy how that happens. Well, we love Partner. We love you guys. We love Smashville. It's a special time of year as we get ready for Christmas here in Smashville. We will start the month of December at home, then some road games over the next few weeks. So make sure you catch the Preds. I also want to let everybody know we have Jewish Community Night coming up on the 4th night of Hanukkah before the game on Wednesday night, December 17th against the Hurricanes. So please tweet at me at Max Hers Talks if you are interested in attending. I will respond to you guys with the link. There is also a Hebrew Preds t-shirt up for grabs if you sign up in advance. But happy holidays. Hope everybody had an amazing Blanksgiving, or as some would call it, Thanksgiving. For Kara Hammer from Preds
lots
TV.
Of good foundation initiatives too, Max. I wanted to mention really quickly, the Preds Foundation's Giving Tuesday, this Tuesday against Calgary, but stay tuned throughout the holiday season. You touched on it. You can text Preds to 76278. There's always auctions going on, silent auctions, but stay tuned to NashvillePredators.com and Preds NHL on social media. All kinds of holiday initiatives. We saw guys out delivering Thanksgiving meals a few days before Thanksgiving. So good on the Preds for getting out in the community and doing that, as they always do. And we'll have lots more of holiday initiatives coming up in the weeks ahead. But yeah, it's a great time of year, and lots to be thankful for, lots to look for as the holiday season arrives. Now, I will let you wrap up the show.
You know what, Brooks? You go ahead.
For Kara Hammer from Preds TV and Max Hirsch from Preds Radio, I'm Brooks Bratton from NashvillePredators.com. It's always a pleasure. Thanks so much once again, Nick Blankenburg, for joining the show. Thanks to all of you as well. Keep your questions coming, your Preds mailbag, hashtag Preds Podcast on social. Boy, there it is. Happy Blanksgiving, Max and his chicken scratch notes. We love to see it. For Kara, Max, I'm Brooks. Have a great week. Welcome to December. We'll talk to you soon.